Today, I'm going to talk about what it's like to fly in space, what it's like to float in weightlessness, and look back at our beautiful planet. I think we could all use something fun and motivational at a time like this. And I know it sounds cheesy, but I think the best thing about space exploration for me was that it shows what we can do when we work together. And it shows us that we need to think big. And I could tell stories from space for literally hours, so let's get going. Every good space talk starts with launch. Walking up to the Space Shuttle Endeavour on my first flight, there was this giant, beautiful spaceship. There was steam coming out of it from the liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen, I guess. And that was one of the proudest moments of my life as an American. And the launch experience itself was amazing. I remember when the engines first lit up, my eyes got big and I thought, wow, something big is about to happen. I've never heard that sound before. You're launched off the launch pad, you're smashed back in your seat. The space shuttle vibrated a lot because of the solid rocket, so it's like somebody grabbing you and shaking you as hard as you can. The launch experience was amazing, and I could talk about that for hours. We launched in the middle of the night. As we flew over the Atlantic, we flew into sunrise, and the very first view I had of Earth in daylight was this sunrise happening. I remember thinking, I've never seen that shade of blue before. It was amazing. Once you get into space, once they turn the rocket engines off, you're floating immediately. Floating or being weightless, it feels like you're falling because that's actually what's happening. You're falling towards the center of the Earth. It's not zero G. There's a lot of gravity. You're only a few hundred miles from Earth, so there's, over 90% of Earth's gravity is still there. They say that everything is harder in space because of the weightlessness, but just keeping track of stuff, everything floats away. Moving around is really awkward at first. You move with your hands and you carry things with your feet. So that weightlessness is fun. It's awesome. It took me a few weeks and I got really good at it, being a spaceman, being able to move around. Exercising in space is super important because you're weightless. And so on it right now, I'm sitting in this chair. I'm actually exercising. My bones and my muscles are fighting against gravity. In space, you have to do that artificially. So we have a treadmill, we have a weightlifting machine, we have a bike. NASA gives us 2.5 hours a day to do exercise. My first flight, I installed a module called the cupola. And the cupola is everybody's favorite place in space. It has 7 windows. There's 6 windows around you and 1 window above you. And the cupola is on the bottom of the space station. So when you look up, you're looking at Earth. And the cupola is an amazing place. You rotate this knob and the window cover opens up and you can look out. They told me I took the most ever photographs of any astronaut because I was in there so often taking pictures of the Earth. It is a cool module. It's amazing. And I could talk for hours literally about my time down in the cupola. I wrote a book called View from Above. It's a Nat Geo book. And one of the chapters I called Colors. And that's because I got to know the Earth by colors. Right after we installed the cupola, we had the window covers open, and all of a sudden it got really red inside the space station. And I was like, this is weird. So I went and looked out, and it was the outback. It's very red, and the light from Earth was reflecting inside the space station. The Sahara Desert in the North Africa is very orange, and the mountains are black. And the colors I thought were really intense there. Namibia, to me, seemed orange, and there's big sand dunes there. I didn't realize you could see sand dunes from space, but you can. And in the same way, the oceans have different colors and also different weather patterns. The southern ocean down by Antarctica looks really nasty. Every time I flew by that and you'd look kind of off to the south, sometimes you could see parts of Antarctica way off 1,000 miles away. The Atlantic is kind of navy blue, dark blue. The Pacific had really interesting formations. I have this one video of this hurricane looking thing. It was just a storm, but it looks like a galaxy. And the North Pacific had these galaxy looking storms often. The most amazing color by far is the Bahamas, the Caribbean, that part of the world. Now you'll see turquoise everywhere. The Pacific Ocean has these little turquoise atolls. There's 1,000 miles of water in all direction, nothing, and then there'll be this beautiful small little island. The Great Barrier Reef, north of Australia, is a chain of little atolls, and there's a lot of this turquoise color, but there's nowhere on Earth like the Bahamas, Cuba, Caribbean area. There's just huge areas of turquoise and blue. It's spectacular. You can even see those colors at night if there's a full moon, if the moon lights it up. The Bahamas they're really amazing. Mountains are interesting. Most mountain ranges look the same, like the Rockies, the Himalayas, the Andes. The Andes are really narrow. You can see texture when you look down at mountains. and there's always snow on the peaks of these mountains. The Grand Canyon. I remember on my first flight, I was looking for the Grand Canyon, and I'm like, where is it? And you see all the desert in the American Southwest, and then finally I saw it, and it's like this little thing. Jungles are really interesting too. The Central America, Guatemala, Honduras, that area is kind of a light green. The Central African jungles are really dark. I mean, that is dark, dark green. The Amazon is huge. Normally you can't see it. Normally there's clouds. There's a reason why it's called the rainforest. That's almost always white, puffy clouds down there. One of the worst things I saw was deforestation. And we could talk more about that later, but there's a big patch of the Amazon that's getting cut down so they can get the wood from the trees and they can raise cattle. It's terrible. In Papua New Guinea, flying over the South Pacific, there's always clouds, there's islands everywhere. But one time I was flying over, it was orbital noon, the sun was right overhead. And all of a sudden, all these things flashed. And I had a camera like I always did, and I just took a picture. What you're seeing, the white is the ocean and is rivers, and the black is jungles on the big island of Indonesia, the Papua New Guinea island. It was amazing to see how many rivers there are down there. And that, for me, that was a profound time to think this is the island of South Pacific. There are primitive people down there. They don't have any technology at all. And what would they think if they knew there was an astronaut in outer space looking down at them? Snow is another interesting thing. No matter where you look, you'll see white. You'll either see clouds, even in the Sahara Desert, there's a few clouds that you can see. Or if you're flying over in the north, you'll see Canada and Russia and a little bit of Scandinavia, but Canada and Russia are huge. They kind of take up most of Earth in the northern hemisphere. And there's always white down there. There's a lot of ice and snow in these countries. I've been to both countries a lot, and they're usually cold and there's often ice, and you can see that from space. I know how lucky I've been to have seen these things. I know I have a unique perspective from these experiences, that I have been blessed by my country. There's a Bible verse that says basically, from those who much has been given, much will be expected. Well, I've been given a lot from America, from being an F-16 pilot to being an Air Force test pilot to finally being a NASA astronaut. My country has given me a lot. And that's why I've joined the battle for US Senate here in Texas. Because in a real way, this race here in Texas is a microcosm of the fight for the very soul of America. That is why we need to put an end to this never-ending chaos and division that this Trump era has brought us. If we do that, there's no telling what we will accomplish next. Maybe we'll put an end to cancer. Maybe we'll slash poverty. Maybe we can give every child in America a great education and an opportunity to achieve their true potential. Who knows? But it all starts with dreaming big and choosing leaders with the vision to unite us and not divide us.